Welcome to the Old School changelog for the 12th of February. Last week they dropped the Royal Titans, so let's start with some bug fixes and improvements for that. Players can now exchange giant soul amulets with the odd old man for 30 big bones each. The enraged slam animation is no longer delayed by a tick on certain occasions. They fixed bugs where a Titan's body disappeared on death, its base persisted after respawning, and ice remained in the arena for the next fight. The prayer filter will no longer show older prayer icons after they are upgraded, and teleporting out of the Royal Titans boss arena will now nullify any incoming damage to prevent death. Tagged minion hitboxes have been scaled down and no longer take up so much space. On sacrifice, if a player doesn't receive the pet, a message will now appear in the chat box to say you don't feel lucky during your sacrifice. And World 567 is now the suggested Royal Titans world. And that's the new boss encounter updates finished, but the changes don't stop there. Based on the results of poll 83, they have made the following improvements. Players can now reset birdhouses to dismantle and automatically build and place a new one. And you can now build and place a birdhouse directly on an empty patch with a single click. Net traps used to catch salamanders can now also be reset automatically. And players can now trade in duplicate Hunter Guild uniques with Verity in exchange for a reroll on the Master Sack loot table, excluding uniques in the pet. When using the alchemy spell in the Explorer's Ring, runes will now be used from your inventory before consuming the ring's daily charges. And if no runes are available, the Explorer's Ring will automatically provide the necessary charges to cast the spell. And enchant jewellery will now convert the first jewellery in the inventory rather than the specific jewellery it was cast on. Then for some specific client and mobile updates, the high scores panel now remembers the previously searched dataset. Failed high score searching now displays new UI and text within the search bar. They've added a new toggle which allows chat filters to always show even when the chat is collapsed. The high scores pop-out panel will now auto-open when the player uses the in-world lookup feature, and mobile users can now hide split private chat when the chat box is closed. The Barrows interface no longer gets stuck behind the minimap interface, and they have adjusted the dead zones around the chat box and the left side of the mobile client. Menus now appear in front of minimap orbs, and important functions like the close button won't be blocked when they overlap. Certain hotkeys with a corresponding checkbox or toggle in the settings menu now correctly sync to the correct state, and the loot tracker no longer shows incorrect truncated numbers on the enhanced client. And when using the hotkey side panel, the buff bar now dodges as it would if the player used the right side stones. Now moving on to their upcoming birthday events next. They touched on these in the last changelog, so I won't go into too much detail here, but the Twitch livestream will be happening on February 20th at 4:30 PM to 6 PM GMT, which will include a special game mode of Castle Wars including 2 J mods, a review of the top 3 entries for the Old School cake competition, and the reveal of mod-driven Skylark's tattoo designs which were inspired by your suggestions. And the in-game event will also be arriving next week too. And then finally for the other changes this week, the Pendant of Eights now includes all mini-menu teleport sub-options. Camera shake effects can be toggled on or off for Baba Yaga's house fishing trawler, to Barrow's chest, Lizardman's shaman jumps, Great Olm's falling crystals, and falling rocks in the Monkey Madness tunnels. They've corrected recoloring instances across the game, and as a result some NPCs and locations have received slight visual adjustments. They fixed a bug when switching out a Draenor Manor teleport from a Teak portal, and a bug where Varric's set effect was ignoring damage immunity checks such as those belonging to the mages at Nex. You can no longer accidentally get repeat Jad or Zuktas by cancelling them through teleport. They've rewritten the text that appears in your bank potion storage when it's empty, aiming to make it a bit clearer. And the grouping interface now correctly recognises when a player has joined the Mage Training Arena chat channel. PvP Rota has moved to period B. 560 is your PvP world, 319 is the Bounty Hunter world, 579 is High Risk PvP world, 561 is your free to play PvP world, and 580 is for LMS competitive. Worlds 390 and 569 for LMS competitive and Bounty Hunter have been deactivated within this rota, and the PvP arena is using Zerker loadouts in ranked and tournaments this week. And that is all for today. I'm sorry this one was a day late. My Wednesdays in February are busier than usual, but I will see you next week anyway with the newest Old School updates. In the meantime, I hope you get lucky on some drops, and thank you so much for watching.